different about Teagan those first 5 batters to the next 4?
I think just focused on what he was doing. Looked a little distracted to me, but he's one pitch away from, you don't know this, but maybe rolling and doing his deal where he gets his 4, maybe even 5 innings if you're going to get greedy, or at the very least on to the next inning. But looked to me like he just kind of guided in that last pitch. So we decided to go to an early move here in a cutthroat game.
Kind of the balance of when giving up a lot of stolen bases, of making sure the pitcher can deal with that, but not let it get in his head.
You got to have some presence, and I mean, you got to play defense too and play catch. So that's a side story, and you can either choose to win the war or win the battle. And our guys didn't do a good job of winning the war, so that's a part of it. I mean, you certainly have to, if the guy's on base, certainly have to focus on throwing the baseball where you're trying to throw it, but that ain't when we got beat the last 2 days.
How would you assess where your offense was those last 2 days?
Over swinging and not making adjustments, and a very bad theme of swinging at pitches that were not in the zone and taking some pitches that appeared to be in the heart of the zone from where I was standing. And went up against 2 very good starters, 2 of the better starters in the league too.
You think that the stolen bases weren't why you guys got beat? Why would you say you guys got beat this weekend?
A whole laundry list of items. I mean, the attitude and the vibe wasn't very good. It was a frustration, and I think sometimes our guys have success and then think it's going to be handed to them, and they've made adjustments in the past. We didn't necessarily do that today. But again, didn't play catch. Yesterday was the walks and errors was well over what theirs was. I know they had a clean, for what it's worth. I mean, plays come in different variety, but we had a couple errors. They didn't have any. And then 2, I mean, the vibe of the game or the mojo of the game kind of involves offense and defense. And for whatever reason, us not playing catch, I think, bled into a little bit of frustration at the plate. When you are frustrated at the plate, it affects the scoreboard and what's going on there. So it's a laundry list that would fall under the category of team.
But the breakdown of some of the basic throw and catch stuff, I mean, it's always harder than it looks, but some of the plays out there were plays that you sort of expected you guys to make. What, any particular reason why there were a few of those that didn't go that way?
I mean, part of it is, one of them did go our way. Cannon stuck his nose in there and literally got wasn't his nose, but, the slide was fine, but the runner's helmet ended up clipping his lip, but he took care of the baseball and he took care of home plate, So a lot of it's just that conviction. I mean, had a couple guys. Can you hold on to that, homeboy? Same thing yesterday. A lot of it was, guys kind of guiding the ball. Like I said, it could be the pitcher or a fielder guiding the ball to where they're trying to throw it. Sometimes, you get out there, whether it's turf or natural surface, guys think they know what's going to happen with a hop and kind of get a little lazy, if you want to call it that, and don't grind out a play. You got to be strong around the base, so it's the one play we made, I think, is an example of how you got to do it. You got to have a little conviction to you, and you got to grind out on defense 27 outs.
What's the biggest adjustment that you're looking for the game versus Lipscomb Tuesday?
For our guys to remember what happened this weekend, and maybe last year what happened against Lipscomb, or really just to look at Tuesday as an opportunity to come out and play good baseball, and should be as motivated as anybody in the country to do that.
You think it's been different from Lloyd last handful of outings?
Same word, conviction. I know I haven't looked at today's, but I know he started the deal right out of the gate with a guy 0-2 and a pitch didn't have any finish to it towards the direction he was throwing it. Just kind of bled right over the middle of the plate. So I think, conviction and certainty in what he's doing, which has always been his that's kind of been his MO, if you will. It's never been about stuff with him. It's quality stuff, but it's really about him being a guy that even as a freshman in an SEC championship game or a lot of big games in high school he pitched in, just kind of having some presence and some certainty to him. So I think that's a big thing with the hitters or defense or holding runners or doing whatever is having the right presence.
How would you assess Brandon Arbison today?
He was good. He was letting that thing loose. And, whether it be Teagan or whoever, we wanted to get to a point where Snead would be in the middle of the game and feel confident in him. And, again, I think because the score is 3-0 and the theme of the at-bats the last day and a half are what they are, you consider every run valuable. So I think we we go to Snead there. You could argue whether it's the right thing or not, because it would have been interesting to see if Arp could go a little bit more. But, you know, for now, he's a sprinter out of the bullpen for us, and he keeps building up steam.
A few more guys.
In terms of, you alluded to this a little bit, I think, earlier, but in terms of the presence going into the day, what was your vibe check on that kind of look, feeling going into the week?
You know, I think I didn't pick up on any one thing that was lacking or too much of or anything like that. I think early in the game, the tension was there maybe a little too much, but again, when it kind of goes down the way it does in the second inning and you don't get immediate results, it's, I think, nature of the beast. I was the worst at it of you let the results or the scoreboard sway your mood a little bit. So maybe there's a little bit more of an underlying theme there of, you know, guys allowing results or outcomes to kind of shift their mood one way or the other. And, you know, you guys said it, or somebody wrote it or said it. I certainly said it. Last Sunday in Oxford was great because they didn't blink regardless of what was going on. So you can do it once, you should be able to do it again.
Earlier this year, Hunter made a play in center field, and you wished that the crowd had given him more of an ovation. This past weekend, with all the plays that were made defensively, a lot of guys got ovations from the crowd.
Yeah.
Just what did you like from seeing that this week?
Yeah, kind of what we talked about the other, you know, the other night, whichever it was. I mean, I don't know what the Smokies had going on today, but I know the last two nights, Knoxville's filled two stadiums, and from my understanding, the crowds have been into it and aware and cheering over there, and it's the same thing over here. So I think the crowd here helps us win games as long as our guys are giving them incentive to do so. And no one wants to hear whining or anything like that. Because at our park, you can hear everything. It's the toughest park to umpire in the country. So, again, you get heated and you argue. Those guys all end up with about the same score as what I've told you before. It's good that when the fans have our back as it relates to the umpires. But the point being is you're right on top of the action. You can hear everything. So the more they're involved, the more they're positive, the more they help us win. And as we always say around here, it takes two to tango. I think part of the reason the fans have come out here and we've had to build a bigger stadium is they've fallen in love with the personalities like Kirby and you know, Hunter Ensley and whoever else you want to come up with that have been a part of the program. But I think they've also appreciated the way that our guys have played at times, whether it be with passion or win or lose, something that they can say, I'll attach my name to that. And kudos to Kentucky, in particular those two starting pitchers, but I don't think anyone wants to attach their name to the last 2 days.
You referenced
Last
you
question.
not blinking last week at Ole Miss, and then this weekend going like it did. How do you get back to kind of that identity as opposed to what went down this weekend?
It's like you know, and I'm not. There's plenty of things you can analyze. We need to get better, but for that particular question, it's like the doctor can prescribe you what to do to rehab something, but then you have to do it. So it's up to us to point out some things that need to improve, and then at this point in the season, a lot of what's going to go on with Florida State's program, Kentucky's, ours, Oregon's, whoever, is going to be the decisions that the kids make.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. How's Tanner?